Okay. So, hello, a very good evening, and welcome to the VAR show, the show which talks about all the various major football leagues in detail. Today, we are going to conduct a team of interviews, and we have Mr. Daniel Limones with us, who is the technical director of Pakistan football, and also is the coach of the national women's team. So, without wasting much time, I'd like to first thank Daniel for coming on the show. Thank you and welcome to the show. And I would like to begin by asking you, how are you and what have you been up to? Like these times which have been tough for everyone and maybe for you too, because you are far away from where your family is, probably in Spain.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me to the show. Have been the whole let's call it the COVID time here in Pakistan, and it has been obviously I'm away from home, so it's tough because they are not going to get infected and all of these things. But luckily, I have friends here who have been taking care of me, so it has been a tough time, but it has been easier than what I was expecting.
Okay, so I'll move to a more lighter topic, that's football, in comparison to maybe COVID and the different, like bad things that happen all around the world right now. And, like how did football begin for you? What was your first association with football?
My first memory in football was going to see the matches that my father was playing. He was playing in third division in Spain, and there is always a funny story that he is telling on Christmas Eve to the whole family, etc. That there was an important match that they were playing, and they were trying to promote to second division B in Spain, and there was a small kid with a big head crossing the ground, following the ball, the actual ball that they were using for playing the match, and the referee was very close to suspend the match, to cancel the match at that time. So I think that is my first memory. I have a lot of memories playing with my dad, and then when I started coaching, I think it was when I was 16 years old in my school.
And like you said, like you started coaching at 16, that was your, as you said. And like, didn't you want to play? Because everyone wants to play, everyone says playing is the better part. Why didn't you want to play, and why did you go to coaching at such a young age?
I think because football itself told me that I was not going to be a football player, and I was not going to be able to be a professional footballer. So I think it was football itself who showed me the coach. And actually, whenever I was playing, I was very active in my teammates. I was very talkative during the matches, etc. So it's something that it was something that was coming from inside. Even when I was 12 and 13, I was very communicative in the inside the pitch. So it's something that I think I realized it when I was 16, but
Definitely. And like you're currently in Pakistan, and how did Pakistan happen to you? Because it's quite far away from Spain. It's like, I think you have to change 2 flights to come to Pakistan at minimum.
it happened because in September 2018, I was working for Atlético de Madrid, the Spanish professional club. I was a coach with them, and Atlético had a plan to expand or to have more all around the world, and they started opening academies in different countries, such as Panama, such as Israel, such as Pakistan, China, Australia, Dominican Republic. There were a lot of branches all around the world, and Pakistan one of those countries, because obviously life is so much different from Spain. So for me, a challenge. I'm happy of taking it, because obviously without that step, I wouldn't have been able to join Pakistan Football Federation, and wouldn't have been able to get this opportunity to experience football in a different way.
And like you said, you came with association with Atletico, where you probably knew what they were doing because it was closer to your home because you are from Madrid and Atletico also are based around Madrid. So you knew, okay, this was like I'm going to represent a club which I know since my birth, maybe, but then how did you make the jump from working for Atletico to the PFF, that is Pakistan Football Federation?
Can you repeat the question? The last part of the question, please?
So I wanted to know,
Sorry.
how did you go from working for Atletico to joining Pakistan Football Federation? How did that happen?
That happened because I came to meet the chairman of the normalization committee. We are here in a normalization committee in Pakistan, and I wanted to have a discussion with him about his plans and about what was going to happen after COVID. Obviously, everything was so uncertain because I met him. I think it was beginning seriously and badly everywhere. But as football activities were stopped, I wanted to kind of have a picture or an idea of the next steps that PFF for Pakistan Football Federation was going to take regarding the grassroots and the youth, because we were working with grassroots and youth here with Atletico. So it was just a random conversation with the chairman that in 1 or 2 hours of meeting that we had, we got that good feeling that maybe we thought that we could do something. At the beginning, we were thinking about something with Atletico and Pakistan Football Federation, but then we realized that maybe having me on board with the Pakistan Football Federation was going to be a better idea, and actually it has been a better idea.
And you have been involved with Atletico first as a foreign entity, and now with the national setup, both the genders. And how is football in Pakistan? Because I don't have any idea what football is in Pakistan. How is it according to you? What you have experienced?
My experience is saying that there are a lot of, first of all, fans of football here in Pakistan. Because, fortunately, Facebook and La Liga are being broadcasted. Most of the people have access to watch English Premier League matches. So there are a lot of fans, football fans here. Not that matter that they are practicing football here. The main issue, the situation here is that the platform has not been built in the past 10 years. So for me, when I joined Pakistan Football Federation in July, whatever we were going to do, it was going to be on a white canvas. Like everything that, any single step that we were able to do, each baby step that we were going to be able to do was going to be a huge step for Pakistani football, because there was no proper organization to call it in some way, that no proper planning, not a proper pathway for footballers here whenever they are starting to play football, when they are 8, 10 years old, till they are reaching the top tiers or whenever they are 18. There is not a proper pathway of development. We don't know what are the academies doing right now, because we don't have a proper database of academies. So it's something that with time, because it's a process that it requires time, obviously, because it's a country of 220 million people. So being able to get all the data and all the information from every single town in the country is going to be a huge task. But it's to do, because we have to set up a proper system, we have to give the kids the proper platform, and we have to develop the proper competition system. It's going to help a little bit the development of the kids, and then that development is going to affect in a positive way to the national teams, to the Pakistan Premier League, to the Challenge Cup, to the Women's League, etc. So it's something that is going to be very, very positive in the long term.
Definitely. And like you said, how there are a lot of fans in Pakistan in respect to football, like you said, La Liga is being broadcasted, and I also know because I'm a Liverpool fan. Like I think Ian Rush had come, I think last year or this year, somewhere like that, because I follow him, and he had put up to come Liverpool. So at least Liverpool fans have a strong group there in Pakistan. I know that much. What do you think, like that the support there is only for European football, which is the case for most Asian countries, and they don't probably like support your own team, like probably when Pakistan plays, or probably when the local league. Do you think that hinders the full like idea of working or making the football better?
Yeah, maybe it has been happening in the past because maybe the local and the hype has not been created in a proper way, but it's something that also our media department and our marketing department are working on to create that hype on the football fans here. Our social media has grown up like crazily in the last 3-4 months due to all the activity that we have had. But as we understand this sport and we understand how football is working right now, if we don't create that hype and we don't have that regular activity to give to the fans right now, it's something that is going to be forgotten if you don't have that regular activity, because football needs, like the fans, they need to have that regular activity. They have to be hooked by football. They have to find a way or find a proper channel to follow the local football here in Pakistan. So it's something that I have to cheer up the marketing department and the media department, because they are doing a great job on that regard.
Definitely. And like talking of that, like again, the you mentioned like how you have to develop the primary league, which will probably improve the major footballing thing in the full country. How is the Pakistan league, like football league? Is it like, how is it?
To be honest, the last time it happened was 2019, so it has been 2 seasons without the Pakistan Premier League due to the let's call it turmoil that Pakistan Football Federation has had in the last year. So it's something that it's difficult. First of all, because the country is huge and the distance that the teams have to cover for playing a match are huge. So we are trying to find that balance or sustainable system to develop the Premier League in a sustainable way again. But the Premier League, I have had a small taste of the Premier League teams in a month, because we have a Continental Challenge Cup, that is a kind of FA Cup. In that tournament, the teams from the first tier and the second tier, from Pakistan Premier League and from B League, that is the second division here, they are participating in that tournament, and the level of football or level of competition that we have seen in this tournament.
Definitely. And like I wanted to ask, like you also have like all like I spoke to 2 people before this regarding Pakistan football. One is Graham Roberts, who was the coach, I think, very long back before he became the Nepal coach. And I spoke to Zesh Rahman, who is one of the most, like probably one of the most successful Asian, because he went on to play in the Premier League. And you also have a lot of players from Pakistan, with Zesh being the only the most, I think, the biggest example, who play abroad and who are playing abroad, and they come to represent Pakistan. If you have that in the women's game also. So do you think that helps to like elevate the game, because they bring their experience and maybe the professionalism from outside, which probably would not be readily available because of where the game is right now in probably in Asia?
Yeah, for me, what makes a team or a player or let's say a country to develop football is competition. Obviously, There are players who are playing Europa League, who are playing Champions League, actually, that they have Pakistani origins, and we are able to engage them for the national teams. Obviously, the local players, or they need to improve their level to reach the level that the players who are playing abroad they are having. So obviously, it's not only building the national team with players who are playing abroad, but I think that if we are able to build the core of that national team with players who are playing in Europe, because obviously the competition and the level of the competitions there in Europe is higher than for sure in Pakistan. Obviously, the national team is going to grow up and is going to develop maybe quicker because the players themselves inside the dressing room and inside the training sessions, they are going to find that competition to be playing for the national team. So it's obviously if you are able to get better players who are going to make the local players even better, it's going to be a huge step, and it's going to be a good point for the local players and for football in Pakistan.
Of course, until now, we generally more or less kind of spoke about men's game, and you're also involved with the women's game, in as a national coach. And how is the women's game in Pakistan? Because women's game generally all over the world is still in its infancy compared to maybe men's game. How is it in Pakistan?
Uh, I don't want to compare because I hate comparing things, because comparisons are maybe leading you to make mistakes in those comparisons. Obviously, compare women's football here in Pakistan with women's football in Spain, that is growing up so quickly, and we have Atletico and Barça teams that are in the top 10 teams in Europe. But the good thing here, and the good thing I have felt, we have had one training camp with the girls, with the national team, and we are planning to conduct the women's national championship at the end of this month. The good thing I have felt from the players is that they are keen to get that help that we can provide them. They were just waiting for someone to open them the door to develop and to enjoy football first of all, in a healthy way, and secondly, in a free way. That is something that could be very important in this country. So the players, they were craving for that platform, not platform because we haven't been able to create the proper platform yet, but just someone who was able to open them the door for the national team. Because, for example, the national team, the last time they gathered before the time we gathered in October, it was in 2013. So it has been 7 years without women's national team here in Pakistan. So obviously, again, every baby step or every little step that we are doing in the women's football is a big step, and it's a huge step, and they are very grateful and they are very thankful for whatever we are trying to do, because it is what they have been waiting for the last 7 years. And I don't know if intentionally or not intentionally, but no one has been able to open that door to provide them that platform to develop what they love to do, that is playing football.
Of course, and you're like you mentioned, like how you all are kind of having to start with a fresh canvas, a clean canvas in terms of football in Pakistan. For whatever reasons, it has not been. What do you think will be your most difficult task, or what will be something that if you achieve will give you the most joy during your tenure?
For me, the biggest success would be creating the competition system for the grassroots. I think is the most important thing that we have to work timely, but obviously it requires time. We need a proper governing body here in the PFF to have all the district and province football associations on board. But obviously there won't be any development of football in Pakistan first of all without coaching education, and secondly without the development of grassroots and youth, because they are working on the players who are currently playing the PPL. Maybe we are going to improve 1 year or 2 years, but we have to start thinking for a long term that something that in football is really weird and it's really hard because what people are demanding are results and they want success in short term, but in countries like Pakistan and these countries that the football is not that developed, maybe long-term plan is the most in Pakistan overall to grow up. Working with the first tier and the second tier, yes, we are going to develop 700 players, but obviously if we are thinking for a long term, maybe implementing that competition system, that academy system, that roots and youth system is going to help and is going to provide us more player and more success than if we are only focused on the two top tiers of the system.
Of course, and like you mentioned about how coach education is also as important, like than producing players, because that will probably lead to bigger success if you can educate more coaches. More coaches can probably go and educate more, like players. And I had been following like how your social media pages where you just I think recently conducted C license or like other license you are planning to go ahead with. How much of a what is the turn up for these events? Like, are there a huge amount of turn up of coaches for these events, or people, because football has not been so active, like you said, for the whatever reasons, for a huge amount of time, people don't want to get into this. Is it like that?
The registration for the C certificate that it happened in September. We have just given them the certificates, but the coaching course was happening in September online. The theoretical part was online, and the practical work on the ground was obviously in person. We opened the registration for 60 seats, 60 people only, because it was going to be online, and AFC has some requirements for the coaching courses that we have to meet, obviously. And in the first 6 hours that we opened that registration process, we had around 240 applications for that 60 slots. So again, the will of people to get involved in football, the will and the power of the football fans here in Pakistan that maybe have been hidden for the last 5 years or 6 years for whatever reasons, but they are feeling that working in football, to pursue a career in football in a very good way, and this is why we got in 6 hours we cover the needs for the coaching course, because it was the first time that it was first come first serve coaching basis. Like we were registering the teams, the coaches at the moment that they were sending the application after checking the documentation, etc. So it was the first time that the coaching course has been free and fair. The registration for the coaching course has been free and fair and without any nomination from the clubs or from the province football association, etc. So it has been that is going to be good. We have to improve some details of that registration process, but it has been the first time that the coaching course has been open to everyone, not for the people who are already involved in football. It has been open to every single person who wanted to start a career or who wanted to learn about football. It was the first time it happened. So, yeah, thinking about your question, I think maybe football has been suffering and is still suffering a lot here in Pakistan, but who are really interested and who are really loving football are starting to live in their caves in some way. They have been neglected as well, and they are trying to start showing up, and they are trying to start their own academies on a park or in a small ground that they have close to their places. So it's a very beautiful thing, and And for example, the batch of 60 coaches that we have, 46 coaches that we have had in the last C certificate, they are being very active in the education of the grassroots and the youth right now.
And like one thing that you have very stressed very much is on grassroots football, which you said that is very much for maybe having the next generation be better than what you have right now. And how is the grassroots turnout, because you in I think in this part of the world where parents don't really see future in playing football, how what is your ideology? How do you want to break that barrier? Maybe maybe okay, yeah, football is can be just for enjoyment also for your kids. How do you put that across?
Yeah, we cannot forget that the kids are kids and they must play football as a way to have fun and to make friends and to get away from studies in some way and to develop their physical abilities and to have a healthy way of life, etc. Because we cannot forget that they are kids and they just need to play. They just need to have fun. They just need to enjoy whatever they are doing regarding their studies, regarding their leisure time, like doing sports or being at home or whatever. They have to have fun because it's how a kid is really developing themselves. I think I have told you before, there is no proper competition system here in Pakistan. There are some random tournaments that are happening once in a blue moon, under 12 tournament in Lahore or the 14 tournament in Karachi or something like this. But it's happening once in a blue moon or once per year, so it's something that is not a regular thing. And it is important whenever you are turning 18 or you are above 18, but when you are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you are playing matches continuously, you are not having a regular training session system, if you are not competing against another team that is challenging your level and is challenging yourself, the development of that player is going to be smaller and slower than a player who is, for example, in Spain, we are playing matches since we are 6 years old. So there's a huge difference between one country and another regarding football, because the development of kids since 8 years old is bigger because they are playing and they are competing regularly. So it's the main task that is, and it's going to be the most successful task if we are able to achieve them and to be able to build that grassroots and youth competition system. That is going to be a huge step for Pakistan, because it's that we are trying. If we are able to do that, it's going to be that we are going to be planting a tree who is going to be giving shade for a lot of people, and we are going to be able to. The level of football itself is going to grow up and it's going to be developing in a proper way, because the competitive kids are going to be under a regular training session basis. That is going to be a great thing.
Definitely. And being you're also being the coach, how do you like your team to play? Or I think in Spain you say methodology. What you use? How do you use that? What is your idea?
For coach needs to have an idea and needs to have his own methodology, but obviously you have to adapt whatever you have in your head to the environment that where you are working. Is absolutely different. The way of my teams can play here in Pakistan and in Spain, because there is a culture of football here in Pakistan and is so much different than in Spain. So Spanish, I like that my teams have the control of the match through the ball, attacking and defending. So it's something that is, for me, is the ABC of football. That you are playing football because you want to have the ball. You are not playing football because you want to run after the ball. So it's the best thing. And after that, after assessing and checking the kind of players that we have all of this. It's about adapting that idea to the local environment and to the local culture in some way. So, but the response, we have had only the women's training camp, and the response from the girls that they were used to play in a hugely different way. The response has been very positive, and we are receiving messages almost every week asking when it's going to be in camp, because they are like very keen to learn and to enjoy football in that way. That is something that is different for them.
Definitely. And like we are getting to the end, and I'll ask you last few questions. And like, do you have any coach or coaches who had like the most influence on you as a manager, from whom you maybe like take ideology, or whom you look up to?
Right now, just because I'm not watching football too much, because of I'm kind of fed up watching football. I loved. It's not about having one reference or one coach who is going to be your model during your career. I have been able to take the positive points of coaches that are I think different, because, for example, I like the way Cholo Simeone's teams are defending. I love the way Jurgen Klopp teams are doing the press after losing the counter pressing. Obviously, is a reference for everyone who likes that game model. I have Johan Cruyff always in my mind. I have Luis Aragonés always in my mind. Mauricio Pochettino is a reference. So the good thing is that I have a lot of income for that knowledge, and I have been able to sort these special behaviors that I like in those teams, and I saw finding a balance between those ideas, and is something that every coach should do, because for us, having a model, just one model, and going everywhere with that model is something that is not going to be worthy, because obviously everything to the context and to the environment that you have. So the more knowledge and the more knowledge you have, the better it's going to be more useful for wherever you are going to work.
Definitely. And like, we'll wrap it up with one final question. And do you have any advice for any young coaches who are just wanting to start but do not know where to start? Do you have any advice, or whatever, for whatever reasons they are not able to start? Do you have any advice for them, for any young coaches?
Yeah, the first thing is that they have. The first thing they have to do is to get a certificate, because it's the first thing that the FIFA and AFC and UEFA is going to require from them for being a coach in any team. Starting from the lower level, from the D certificate or the C certificate here in AFC is something that is more than enough if you are young. And then after that, try to find an academy, try to find a club, wherever even if they are not getting paid. But the first thing they have to do is to make one has been who is learning is making mistakes. I am still making mistakes, and I'm still making big mistakes. And it's something that if we are not challenging ourselves, and we are not putting ourselves in that risk of making mistakes, is whenever we are going to be in the comfort zone, and we are not going to improve. So first, the D certificate or C certificate, where the AFC is providing that. And secondly, find a club to make mistakes. Is the biggest advice I have told to the coaches who have been in the C certificate, and is something that I'm always telling to the coaches starting, because everyone is making mistakes. The Jurgen Klopp is making mistakes. Pep Guardiola is making mistakes. So everyone has to make mistakes to learn. And from those mistakes is when you are going to make a bigger step to improve and to learn.
Definitely. And of course, it's a very good advice, because even Jurgen Klopp, I think he made a mistake yesterday, and I think they lost 1-0 against Southampton. Like, it happens. And yeah, so like, on that note, Daniel, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you all the best for your future with Pakistan, with all your capacities. Hope you can revive football there, and hope to see you flying with the women's team and also the national men's team and overall the full Pakistan football structure. And thank you also. I would also like to extend my thanks to Sabbar for making it possible. Like conducting it very fast. Like you mentioned, like the media team have been extremely good, and he's an integral part of it. And hope to talk to you again soon, Daniel. Till then, take care, stay safe. Bye. Thank you once again.